Maya, quick question. Do you ever hear your dad's voice in your head when you're about to buy something you don't need?
Oh my gosh, constantly. Like word for word, actually.
See, I knew I wasn't the only one. Welcome back, everyone, to Joobira Zone. Today we're digging into something that shapes basically everyone, whether we notice it or not. The money habits our parents taught us.
The stuff we picked up without even realizing we were learning it.
Exactly. So let's start there. What's that voice actually saying, in your dad's head, when you're about to buy something?
Honestly, do you need that or do you want that? He asked me that question literally every single time I asked for something as a kid.
Every time?
Every time. Toys, clothes, snacks at the store. It didn't matter what it was. That was always the first question.
Did it annoy you as a kid?
So much. I used to roll my eyes so hard. But now, 20-something years later, I catch myself asking my own brain that exact question before every purchase.
That's wild how that works. The stuff that annoys us most as kids ends up becoming exactly how we think as adults.
It really does. What about you? What's the money thing your parents drilled into you?
Mine's a little different. My mom was big on cash, like actual physical cash for everything.
Really? Even now?
Even now, she still keeps envelopes for different categories: groceries, gas, entertainment, old school budgeting.
The envelope system. I've heard of that, but I don't think I've ever actually seen someone use it in real life.
Oh, she swears by it. Her thing was always, if the envelope's empty, you're done spending in that category. No exceptions.
That's actually kind of genius, though, because it makes the limit so visual. You can't pretend you have more money when the envelope's literally empty.
Exactly. And I think that's why it stuck with me. Even though I don't use actual envelopes now, I mentally still separate my money into categories the same way.
That's such a good example of how a habit can survive even when the method changes.
Right. The tool changed, but the lesson stayed. Okay, here's a question. Do you think all the habits your parents taught you were actually good ones, or were some of them kind of outdated?
Ooh, good question. Honestly, some were amazing, and some really didn't age well.
Give me an example of one that didn't age well.
Okay, so my dad was very anti-credit card, like deeply suspicious of them. He always said credit cards are how people go broke.
That's a pretty common older generation mindset, honestly.
Totally, but the problem is, in today's world, you kind of need credit history for things like renting an apartment or getting a car loan.
Oh, that's true. If you never build credit, it actually works against you.
Exactly. So it took me a while to unlearn that fear and realize credit cards aren't inherently bad. It's really about how you use them.
That makes sense. I think that's the tricky part about parent advice. It usually comes from a good place, but sometimes it's built for a different economy than the one we're actually living in.
Yeah, the world their advice came from and the world we're spending in now are pretty different.
Definitely. Okay, what about good habits, though? Something your parents taught you that you still fully believe in.
Honestly, the saving habit itself. My parents always said pay yourself first, way before I ever heard that phrase used online or in a book.
Oh, that's such solid advice, though. Timeless.
Right? It's funny, I thought that phrase was some trendy finance influencer thing, and then I realized my parents were saying it my whole childhood without even calling it that.
That's so true. A lot of new financial advice is just old wisdom repackaged with better marketing.
That's such a good way to put it. Okay, your turn. Good habit from your family that's held up?
Definitely the needs versus wants thing we already talked about. But also, my mom was big on cooking at home instead of eating out.
How strict was that?
Pretty strict, honestly. Eating out was basically a special occasion thing, not a regular thing.
Do you still live that way?
Mostly, yeah. I probably eat out way less than most of my friends, and I genuinely think it's because that's just what normal looked like growing up.
That's such a good example of how normal is basically just whatever we saw the most as kids.
Exactly, and it's kind of scary, actually, because you don't even choose it consciously. It's just baked in.
So true. Okay, here's something I've been thinking about. Do you think the way our parents talked about money, like emotionally, not just the actual advice, affected us too?
Oh, 100%. Like, was money a stressful topic in your house or a calm one?
Honestly, kind of stressful. There were definitely nights where I could hear my parents talking quietly about bills, and even though I didn't understand the details, I could feel the tension.
That's so relatable. Even as a kid, you can sense stress even without understanding the specifics.
Right, and I think that gave me a little bit of anxiety around money that I still deal with sometimes, even when things are actually fine financially.
That makes so much sense, though. Like the emotional pattern sticks around even after the situation that caused it is gone.
Exactly. What was it like in your house?
Honestly, way calmer. My parents talked about money pretty openly, even in front of us. Like they'd literally sit at the kitchen table and go through the budget together.
That's actually really healthy now that I think about it.
It really was looking back. I didn't realize how lucky that was until I started talking to friends who grew up with more secrecy around money.
That's such an interesting difference, secrecy versus openness. I feel like both extremes can cause issues, though, right? Like too much openness as a kid could be overwhelming, too.
Oh, definitely. There's probably a balance. My parents were open about the process, but they didn't necessarily dump every worry onto us. It was more like modeling good habits than making us anxious.
That's a good distinction, actually, showing the habit versus sharing the stress.
Right, exactly. Okay, here's a fun one. Did your family have any weird or unusual money rules? Like something specific to just your house?
Oh, yes. We had this rule where any birthday money had to be split three ways: spend some, save some, and give some away.
Wait, give some away? Like donate it?
Yeah, my parents were big on that. Even as a kid, a portion of any money I got had to go to something charitable.
That's actually such a cool habit to instill early. Do you still do that? Honestly, kind of, yeah. I still try to give a small percentage to something even now. It just feels weird not to, because it was so built into how I thought about money from the start.
That's such a great example of a habit that probably shapes your whole relationship with money, not just the giving part.
Yeah, it made saving and spending feel like less of the only two options. There was always a third category.
I love that. Okay, my weird family rule. We weren't allowed to buy anything that was full price if a sale was coming.
Wait, how would you even know a sale was coming?
Exactly, that was the impossible part. My mom just had this instinct, like, just wait, it'll go on sale, and half the time she was right.
That's such a specific skill, though, knowing sale patterns like that.
She was scary good at it. I think it's why I still hesitate before buying anything full price, even now. There's this little voice going, just wait.
That's such a perfect example of what we're talking about, these tiny, specific habits that stick with us for decades.
It really is. Okay, let's talk about something a little deeper. Do you think it's possible to actually change a money habit you inherited if it's not serving you anymore?
I think so, but I think it takes actually noticing it first. Like with the credit card thing, I didn't even realize that fear was inherited until I sat down and thought about where it came from.
Right. A lot of these habits are so automatic, we don't even question them.
Exactly. So step one is just noticing, like, wait, why do I actually think this way?
And then what after you notice?
Then I think you have to consciously test the new way. For me, that meant actually getting a credit card and using it responsibly just to prove to myself the fear wasn't fully accurate anymore.
That's actually a healthy approach, actually testing it instead of just deciding to think differently.
Right, because just deciding doesn't really work. You kind of need the real experience to override the old belief.
That makes so much sense. I think I've done something similar with eating out, actually. I used to feel guilty every single time I ate out because of how strict my mom was about it.
Do you still feel that guilt?
A little, honestly, but way less than before. I had to consciously remind myself that eating out sometimes isn't reckless, it's just a normal part of a balanced budget.
That's such a good point, because I think a lot of inherited habits are actually really smart, but sometimes they're just a little too extreme for how we live now.
Right, it's less about throwing the habit away and more about softening it a bit.
I like that. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to ask, do you think you'll pass down the same habits to your own kids someday, or do it differently?
Honestly, I think I'd keep most of it. The needs versus wants question, the cooking at home thing, those actually served me well.
What would you change?
I think I'd talk about money a little more openly, even earlier, like actual numbers, not just vague lessons.
That's a good addition. I think for me, I'd keep the giving away habit for sure. That one shaped me in a really good way. But I'd probably be a little less fearful about credit and debt in general. Just explain it more instead of avoiding it.
That's such a healthy way to look at it. Take the good stuff, adjust the outdated stuff.
Exactly. All right, I think that's a great place to wrap up today's episode. This one got a little more personal than usual.
It really did, but I think that's what makes it interesting. Money habits aren't just numbers, they're basically stories from our childhood.
Well said. So here's a question for everyone listening. What's a money habit your parents taught you that you still use today? Good or bad? We want to hear it.
Drop it in the comments seriously. We read every single one, and I promise you you're not alone in whatever weird family money rule you grew up with.
If this episode made you think about your own family's money habits, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and share it with someone who probably still hears their parents' voice every time they open their wallet.
They know exactly who they are.
They really do. All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Joobira Zone.
Go call your parents, ask them about their money story. You might learn something surprising.
Love that. We'll catch you all in the next one.